Hello again, everyone. This is Mary at the Reiki Place. If you clicked on this video, you probably already have some natural curiosity about learning Reiki. This is the second in a two-part series. In the first part, we talked about why you might want to receive Reiki and how Reiki can help you heal. So in this video, we're just talking about those people who are interested in learning Reiki, what a Reiki class looks like, what happens in a Reiki class, what you learn. You can also check out the video that I posted on the ICRT official website, which is about learning Reiki 1 and 2 together, why we often teach Reiki 1 and 2 together. So I don't need to get into that in this video, but I am going to be talking about both what you learn in Reiki level 1 and what you learn in Reiki level 2. So channeling energy is a natural ability that all of us have. Every human, if they wanted to, could channel energy. It's very easy to do it. The difference when you receive a Reiki attunement is that the attunement will empower your natural healing ability, and it will empower the energy that you are naturally channeling. If you want to prove this to yourself, this is something you can do right here, right now. Just take your hands and start to form an energy ball. Just tell your conscious mind that you would like to channel energy and form a ball of energy. And then slowly form the ball and see it forming in your inner eye, in your third eye. Visualize that ball forming. You can close your eyes if that makes it easier for you. And then start to feel the resistance that's building between your hands like this. And then after you think you've got the ball fashioned, just hold the ball in the palms of your hands like this and blow it out into the air. Now, if you want to, as you're forming the ball, you can put an intention into the ball. So maybe you'd like to send healing to somebody, or maybe you just want to send love out into the world, or maybe you have a specific intention that you'd like to set into your energy ball. So as you're forming your ball, just be thinking about that intention, and by your conscious intention, setting that into your ball of energy. And then when you blow the energy out, you are putting that wish or that goal or that intention out into the universe. It's that easy. So can you feel that resistance? You should be able to feel a little resistance, and maybe you're even getting some pulsing in your hands as you do that exercise. In my Reiki classes, I teach you how this works, but more importantly, I attune you to the Reiki energy so that your energy becomes more empowered. So an attunement is like tuning you in, like when you tune in a radio station. Now, everything in the universe is frequency, and Reiki is a specific frequency of energy, of healing energy, of universal life force energy. And that's what the attunement is all about. So let's take a look now at some of the other things you learn in Reiki class. And we'll start with Reiki level 1, and we'll start to just pick apart some of the content of the Reiki level 1 class. The objective of the Reiki level 1 class is to give you your first attunement to Reiki and to teach you the basics of Reiki. So let's look at this in a little bit of detail. There's many ways to use Reiki beyond using it for healing people, and we look at some of those ways in class too. For example, you can use Reiki on your pets and on your plants, and you can also infuse it into things like crystals and your pendulum. We get into the history in Reiki class. We talk about the great Reiki healers and how the modern Reiki movement began, and how Reiki's continued to evolve throughout this last century. The last 100 years, Reiki has really exploded. So it's been 100 years since Mikao Usui first received his spontaneous gift of Reiki on Mount Karama, but he wasn't the first Reiki healer. However, he has been a terrific influence on the modern Reiki movement. And Mikao Usui left some really nice teachings about Reiki. He taught us the 3 pillars and the 5 precepts, and I won't go into those here because you learn those in class. But that's a beautiful, those 2 things in particular, the 3 pillars and the 5 precepts, are beautiful cornerstones of Reiki and a wonderful legacy that Mikao Usui was specific to him, that has been passed down through many of the lineages of Reiki. We also learn how to meditate with Reiki. Now, you may already be good at meditation. You may already have a meditation practice, or you might be a beginner, or you might be somebody who is just interested in learning how to meditate, but you've never quite mastered it. And so in Reiki, we get a couple of really nice ways to meditate with Reiki and with the Reiki ideals, and that really helps us in our meditation journey. And then, of course, no beginning Reiki class would be complete without learning the hand positions. So we go over the basic hand positions, and there's a couple of different ways to approach the hand positions, and we talk about those. And when Mikao Usui was teaching hand positions, he always encouraged us to be intuitive. So we talk about all of those things, and we show you how to do a full and complete Reiki session using all of the hand positions from beginning to end. Many people who come to Reiki, if not all people who are drawn to Reiki, are very highly empathic, typically, and that means that they're very sensitive to other people's energy. So I believe this is a really important part of the Reiki 1 teaching, is to teach you how to manage that, teach you how to manage your own energy, teach you how to recognize when somebody else is in negative energy and not to step into that. So learning to manage your own empathic nature is something that we all need to take responsibility for, that if we are empathic, and not blame that on other people. So this is an important part and a beautiful part, I think, of the Reiki Level 1 teaching. All right, now let's go to Reiki Level 2 and take a look at what we learn in Reiki Level 2 class. Of course, you'll receive another attunement and you'll be initiated into the power of the 3 traditional Reiki symbols. So quite a bit of the focus in the Reiki Level 2 class is sending distance Reiki. And one of the symbols, of course, is the Reiki distance symbol. So we learn how to use that. We learn how to send Reiki forwards and backwards in time, whether that's to ourselves or to somebody else. You can also use Reiki to go back to past trauma and heal past trauma. And we talk about that a lot too. And then we do several exercises for sending Reiki. And one of the distance exercises that I like to do is to send yourself 5 minutes of Reiki into the future. And then when you go home that evening or on the next day, you can sit down and receive your own Reiki. That feels wonderful, and it's quite amazing, and it truly makes a believer out of you. I get a lot of really good feedback from students who have done that exercise and then gone and received their own Reiki the next day. I love to get their emails, their text messages. So distance Reiki is usually quite a fun and an interesting part of Reiki class, and it opens up some really interesting group discussions. Can be quite mind-boggling at times, actually. So another important part of this teaching is talking about setting up your own practice. And it's not obviously a business class, but we go into all the basics of what you'll need to do to start your Reiki practice. And at the end of the Level 2 class, you'll be equipped to go out and do exactly that. If that's what you choose to do. Not everybody wants to do that with their Reiki. That's certainly not the only reason to learn Reiki. Now, everything in energy healing is by conscious intention. And in my classes, a big part of the class is to explore the science of consciousness. So I come from a background where I spent quite a bit of time learning about space science, the science of putting satellites into space, communication signals, which, you know, your cell phone is basically frequency at a distance, which is what Reiki is. And I like to bring a little part of what I have learned in my other parts of my life, other parts of my career. I like to bring a bit of that into Reiki. Not only that, but I like to equip people with some information, because there's a lot of misconceptions, let's say, that go around about what Reiki is. And, you know, certain religious aspects, whether Reiki's religious and stuff like that. So I like to myth bust all of that and give you just the pure science behind Reiki, because that's what Reiki is. Reiki is science. Reiki is based in quantum physics. And so I bring you proofs of that. There's been lots of wonderful scientists who have done proofs of the science of consciousness and various experiments that have proved healing at a distance and so on and so forth. So I like to get into a little bit of that. I actually really enjoy that part of class because that's where I get to learn from my students, from you, because everybody knows something, everybody brings something to the table. And, people tell me about the podcasts they've been listening to, the shows they've been watching, the books they've been reading. And so that's where I get to learn something in return from you. And it's fun for me. Many people have now heard of Nikola Tesla, the famous scientist who said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. And of course, that's exactly what Reiki is. It's energy, frequency, and vibration. So I like to think that Reiki is one of the secrets of the universe. And that's one of the reasons why I love teaching it. The other reasons that I love teaching it is because the effects of Reiki, the healing effects, speak for themselves. I've had so much positive feedback, and you will too if you learn Reiki, from people who have experienced healings on deep levels that they didn't know were possible or that they weren't expecting, because it changes lives. It creates shifts in people, mental, emotional shifts. People have spontaneous physical healings. You can't ever make promises about what's going to happen when you give someone Reiki, but after you've had one person after another come back with positive results from doing Reiki, it really hammers home the fact that Reiki is a very worthwhile thing to do. It's a very useful way of, let's say, commanding energy. And then finally, in every Reiki class, I make sure that everybody gets some hands-on practice. We do this every day of Reiki class, whether it's a one-day class, a two-day class, or a three-day class. We practice hands-on Reiki every day, and we do this whether the class is in person or whether it's online. And you'll actually be quite amazed if you decide to take a class online, how you can feel the Reiki. It's actually a little bit trippy to sit there and watch somebody, on the other end of the internet, who you're only seeing on a screen, on a computer screen or your iPad screen or whatever it is, and you're watching them giving you Reiki, and you're feeling that in your body. And then the reverse of that as well, when you're the one giving and they're the one receiving. So it can be a very powerful experience in person, but it's also a very powerful experience online. And don't think that you won't feel it because it's an online class. And so all of my online classes are very, very interactive. You're brought into the classroom. Sometimes I only have online students, and sometimes I have students who are online and some students who are in person. And then I bring you in on Zoom. I have an overhead TV so everyone can see you. And if you're the one online, you just feel like, you're part of the class, you belong in the class, and the other students are talking to you and interacting with you. So it's quite fun and interactive, whether you choose to be in person or whether you choose to be online. My goal is to give you the best possible experience and the best possible teaching, and that's what I strive to do for you. And so I hope that gives you a few insights into what we learn in Reiki 1 and 2 class, at least the way I teach Reiki 1 and 2. So what about you? Have you taken a Reiki 1 and 2 class? Leave me a comment. Did your Reiki master teach you in a different way, teach you something else? Or are you a Reiki master who has a better approach to teaching? Have you found an approach that truly resonates to your students? I'd love to hear about it. Leave me a comment. And in the meantime, thank you all for watching. I always appreciate that people have watched my videos. And so do leave me a like if you have enjoyed this video. That helps me too. It helps to bring the video into awareness of other people. And I'll talk to you in the next one.